Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be talking you guys through some of my all-time favorite drugstore foundations. And make sure to stay tuned till the end of the video because I've also included two of the worst drugstore foundations I've ever used. And most of the foundations I'm going to be talking about today are liquid foundations because I personally prefer using liquid foundations over powder or cream foundations. And also all of these foundations are available here in India, so if you're interested then keep on watching. The first foundation I'm going to be talking about is the Loreal Infallible Foundation, and this claims to stay fresh and fight makeup meltdown for 24 hours. And I'm not sure how true that is because I never wear makeup for that long, but I can definitely tell you that this is a pretty long lasting foundation, and it also has warm yellow undertones to it, which is so great for a drugstore foundations because most of the drugstore foundations tend to be slightly pinkish or orangey in undertones, but these foundations have an excellent range for people with warm yellow undertones. So this one has a medium to full coverage finish. Like if you apply it only once, then it can give you a nice medium coverage, but if you want full coverage then you can totally layer it on because the formula is very soft and it's very blendable, so you can totally layer it on to get more coverage out of it. It gives that semi-dewy sort of a finish. It's not matte, but it's not overly dewy at the same time. Like it's perfectly in between. Like it has a nice satiny finish to it. So if you have dry skin, then this is a great option for you. But if you have oily skin, and just for reference, you're gonna have an oily combination skin. That is, I get oily in my T-zone area, but dry around the sides of my face. So what I like to do is I apply a mattifying primer before using this foundation, and I also go ahead and set it with powder on top so that it does not get too overly dewy and it does not make me shiny. Though the price is quite expensive, it is 1,325 rupees, but I would gladly say that this is a very good dupe for the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation, and that is about I think 3 or 4 times more expensive than this one. So this is a very good option in case you're looking for a foundation that can give you a medium to full coverage finish while making your skin look hydrated and naturally healthy at the same time. So the next foundation I'm going to be showing you is the first foundation I ever purchased in my life, and this is the Revlon Colorstay Liquid Foundation. This one I've got is in the combination to oily skin formula, but they also have another formula for people with dry to combination skin. So the consistency of this is kind of medium, but when you apply it, it goes on really lightly, like it feels very light on the skin. But with this one, you want to work really fast while blending it into the skin because it tends to dry up almost instantly. So what I do is I normally use only one layer of this product, but even one layer of this product gives me so much coverage. Like it covers up any redness or any small acne marks that I have on my face. This is so super long lasting. Like once it dries up on the skin, it will not budge, it will not transfer, it will just stick to your skin the entire day. And that makes it quite difficult to remove this. So you will need a makeup remover to remove this product. And it also has SPF 15, so it kind of gives me a little bit of added sun protection during the summers. But because it has SPF, I try to stay away from photographs with flash, because whenever you're taking flash photography, you should stay away from products that have SPF in it, because SPF can really reflect the light and then it gives you that horrible looking white cast in pictures. So moving on, I've got Maybelline's Fit Me foundation, and this one I've got is in the Matte and Poreless formula, and I think they also have one in a dewy finish formula, but sadly that hasn't launched here in India yet. So I was assuming that this foundation is for oily skin type people because it says matte and poreless, but this definitely is not a matte foundation. The consistency is kind of thin, but at the same time it feels very rich and creamy in texture, and the application is the best part about the foundation. So whenever I'm applying it to my face, I can literally feel how creamy and how smoothly it's going on into my skin. It literally glides on so beautifully on the skin. So yeah, this is not at all drying on the skin. Like even if you have a dry skin or dry patches around your skin, this will not accentuate them, this will not enhance them. It has a kind of a satiny finish, which I personally really love. The first time I used this, I applied it without any primer underneath it. So I just used this foundation on its own and I was shocked because all my pores had disappeared. Like it literally vanished. It just smoothed out my skin so well. So this is a great option for you if you're looking for a foundation that gives you a medium coverage but still looks really natural and fresh at the same time. So next I've got the L'Oreal Magic Nude foundation, and this foundation is called liquid to powder, which means it feels very liquidy in texture. So I really wish it came with a pump. But other than that, like I said, the formula is extremely thin and runny, and that makes this foundation so super easy to apply. And this foundation works best with your fingers, so you do not need a brush or a sponge to use this. It also takes time to dry up, so you get a lot of time on your hands to kind of blend it into the skin. But once it dries up, it feels really matte, like it feels powdery to some extent. This foundation also comes with an SPF 18, and at the same time it's also sweat proof and waterproof, so that makes this foundation really ideal for the summertime. And I like to call this foundation a my skin but better foundation because it feels exactly like skin. The texture is very skin-like, so it looks absolutely natural, but at the same time it evens out the complexion and it also gives a certain amount of coverage to the skin, and it makes your skin look like skin but better. And also I like using this foundation only during the summertime because that is when my skin is oily, but during the winters when I use this, it just makes my skin look so dry. So I would suggest all of you with dry skin to stay away from this product. So next I've got the Bourjois Healthy Mix foundation. So this is another great lightweight foundation that gives the most natural, healthy looking glow to the skin. I mean, it almost makes my skin look kind of radiant, and I really wish I could swatch or do a demo of all these foundations for you guys, but I thought that would be a really long video. So what I've done instead is I have linked one video per foundation up there in the card section, and every time I'm talking about a foundation there will be one card that pops up there. So that will be the video where I've used that particular foundation. So if you're interested to see how it looks when applied to the face, then you can go ahead and check the videos that are up there in the cards. So coming back to this foundation, this is I think one of the only foundations that comes with such amazing ingredients. This foundation is literally packed with natural ingredients that are really good for your skin. So this is not just makeup, but it is makeup and skincare in one sort of a product. For example, this one contains apricot, which is good for giving radiance to the skin, and it has melon for hydration, apple for antioxidants, and ginger for energy. And I think all these ingredients work really well on the skin because this foundation definitely gives the skin a very nice, healthy looking, radiant glow. And I feel it also kind of acts as a moisturizer for the skin because it really hydrates the skin and it really softens the skin to some extent. This has a sheer to medium coverage. It is buildable, but you cannot go more than medium, like it cannot give you a full coverage. And another thing I really love about this is the packaging, because it not only comes with a pump, but as you can see, it also has this internal plate sort of a thing which kind of moves up with each pump. So it kind of slides up and takes up all the product along with it, so there is no product getting wasted. So moving on, I've got another foundation by Maybelline, and this is the Dream Liquid Mousse foundation, and even this one works really well with the fingers. And as the name suggests, this foundation has a creamy mousse sort of a finish, but the minute you blend it in with your fingers, it blends into a super lightweight finish. And this one gives a medium to full coverage finish. You could definitely build up on this one because the formula is very smooth and it's very buildable. It has a very nice luminous finish. I really love the finish of this foundation. So this foundation claims to give an airbrush finish, and I totally agree with that because every time I wear this, I don't know, it has some kind of technology in it that tends to blur out any sort of imperfections in the skin, and it just makes the skin look really flawless and very smooth and airbrush. And this foundation is a great option in case you have dry skin, but if you have oily skin, then you have to use a mattifying primer underneath this, or you have to use lots of powder to set this foundation with. Otherwise, this foundation can really enhance the oiliness. So my final favorite foundation is the L'Oreal True Match foundation. And as the name suggests, this foundation has a wide shade selection, which means everyone can easily find a perfect match to their skin tone. They have a whole range of shades for warm tone people, and then they have this whole range for neutral to cool toned people. So I think that is a really good thing about L'Oreal. My actual shade is W4, but I don't know why I'm not able to find W4 anymore in India. I don't know if it's out of stock or if they've just discontinued the shade, but they just have W3 and W5. And W5 was slightly too orangey for me, so I went in with W3. So this foundation gives a medium to full coverage finish, and it claims to be an oil-free formula, but it gives out the most dewy looking finish to the skin. I don't know how it does that without the oils, but once or twice I've tried to swatch this foundation and try to look at it closely under artificial lighting, and I actually noticed that this one had very fine shimmer particles in it, but obviously these shimmer particles are not visible. Like if you just look at someone, even at an arm's distance, you'll not be able to see any of those shimmer particles. But if you look really closely underneath like a tube light or some artificial lighting, then you can see like very finely milled shimmer particles. But obviously that does not make you look like a shining disco ball or something, so don't worry about that. It will just give you that nice radiant looking skin finish. So those were my 7 favorite drugstore foundations. So moving on to the 2 worst foundations I have ever used. The first one being Lakme's 9 to 5 Weightless Mousse Foundation. So as the name suggests, this foundation is of a mousse consistency, and this mousse is so light that it feels like air. It's really light. So I was actually really in love with the consistency. I thought this would turn out to be a great product for the summertime, and I got this like 2 months back, and I've tried using it in all different ways, but it does not work out for me at all. It does not correct my redness, it does not cover up any marks or scars that I have, and it also does not even out my skin tones. And I've tried layering this up for about 2 to 3 times, but still it failed in giving me any sort of coverage. And another thing that I hate about this foundation is the smell. It smells so disgusting. It smells really cheap. So I think this is the worst Lakme product I've ever tried. Like I've tried the CC cream and I think that is much better than this one. So I would recommend you guys to stay away from this and do not waste 575 rupees on this. So the next worst foundation I've ever tried is the Rimmel Stay Matte Foundation. And I'm not sure if this foundation is still in stock. It might have been discontinued. But I think I saw this in the Parco store when I was there a few months back. So in case you come across this foundation, then I would definitely suggest you to stay away from this. The texture and consistency of this is really thin and runny. So it goes on nicely into the skin and it gives me like a sheer to medium coverage. But this foundation transfers like crazy, and it also oxidizes. Like after 1 or 2 hours of applying this foundation, your face starts to turn really orangey, which is really disgusting. It's supposed to be a stay matte foundation, and you guys know how much I love the stay matte powder, but unfortunately this does not give a matte finish. In fact, it has a very dewy finish, which kind of turns out to be really greasy in about an hour or so. So this foundation makes my oops. So yeah, that foundation gives me a very greasy looking skin. It oxidizes on me, and at the same time it transfers like crazy. So there's nothing good about that foundation. Those were all of my best and worst drugstore foundations, and if this video was helpful to you in some way, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye.